Hey all, and this is the Frames of Steel event. This is a Fire Commander event and Immortal Killer. So I've been testing out quite a few different teams, and in the end I've found this is the most effective team I can make up. Let me talk you through this team. Knight Commander Grask. The main reason this card is useful is because it increases Fire Commander damage by 80%. Ace Skyborn, this is one of the event cards. Creates power gems and has this bonus attack sort of skill, which I'll talk about a bit later on. Steel Force, this is the ultimate form from the event. Similar skill, sort of like a bonus attack I guess, and also creates fire power gems. Also has another skill that creates even more power gems. Eltion's New Guard. Again, this has that Fire Commander damage boost. Creates a lot of power gems as well. This is why that card's useful. And then finally, Immolating Fey. Now this card is basically essential. The main reason this card is so useful is for the dispel skill and cleanse skill. It also increases Fire Commander damage by 50% this time. But yet, because the counter skill doesn't seem that effective or doesn't seem to work that often, this card is really, really useful. The solo bosses have toxin this time around, so having a cleanse skill helps a lot. So onto the relics. As always, you need enough relics to break the immortal shields. You now need 7, as the Radiants have an extra one. So once you have 7 shields broken, you can just add any fire relics. For example, like I've done that here. So there we go, that's my most effective team for the bosses. I'm just going to talk through my other teams. This is what I was originally going to use. The idea behind this team is Circuit Break Hilaria boosts up Arcane Killer attack, and then 3 cards from the Eltion's New Guard deck, all Arcane Killer, with a card that has the Killer skill. It's not as effective as my first team though. It's an alternative option if you don't have the event deck. You could swap this card out for the Perceptive Gurus if you wanted to. So originally I was going to use something based around high performance unit area, but in testing, the damage has been really poor with this deck. You would have thought with a boost from Perceptive Gurus and boost from High Performance Unit area, you would do mega damage, but it simply didn't seem to work, unfortunately. So let's move on past that deck. And finally, this team is for the Crusade maps. This is actually really effective. 3 event cards and 2 other cards. The bonus attack sort of skill unleashes a copy of the hero's strongest attack this battle is really useful in Crusade. It can sometimes one-shot the bosses immediately, so this helps you to get through the maps really quickly. So there we go, that's the teams I have for this event. Now to show you my vault opening. This is actually pretty good, so I'd recommend watching this part of the video. You will see me get quite a few decent rewards here. Alright, and here we go with the vault. This is the day before the event. I have been saving up my gems for this, so I'm hoping I might actually get lucky. I'm going to do the first 3 tiers, I think, of this. Then if I actually get this deck, I may do tier 4 a bit later on. Depends. That's... Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! I got something good on tier 1. How often does that happen? Okay, so this deck wants me, and I want the deck. Let's keep going. Well, that's an amazing start. I can't ask for a better start than that. I definitely will be getting this deck for absolute sure. I'm not expecting to get anything good, but That's an excellent result. I want the relic though, so I'm still going to tier 3. Here we go. Let's see what I get from tier 3. So that's the relic. That's the relic soul. That's the other part of the relic. Oh, wow. So this is going to be a good event. This is going to be a really fun event. Oh yeah, I'm really, really happy with what I managed to get from the vault this time around. It's so rare to get anything decent. Okay, so what I plan to do now is forge the other half of this deck using coins. However, I'm not going to make this deck quite yet. The reason for this is because I want to see if I get the main hero from the random 6-star hero from the event. If I get the main hero from that, then I can claim the shiny without buying tier 4 of the vault, saving myself a lot of gems. Otherwise, I'm forced to go up to tier 4 as well. So I will definitely forge this deck, but I'm going to hold back a little bit until I actually make it. I will definitely make the ultimate relic though right now. There's no reason to hold back on that. And that's an excellent result to get that and one of the 2 cards. So I'm very, very happy with my vault pulls. I may also take the Water Commander deck up to 2 stars with the other coins. You may have seen I have quite a few coins spare. So here we go with some Crusade gameplay. As you may have seen, there's a Radiant map now with Radiant bosses. That includes solo and guild bosses. The Radiant solo bosses are not too bad, but the guild bosses have a lot of HP and are not worth that many more trophies than the Korelium boss, so it's up to you which bosses and map you want to do, but I think the Korelium map and Korelium bosses is probably the best idea for this event, especially considering the event deck itself is quite weak. So just to show you what the Radiant map looks like, here we go, let's play this. It also allows me to show you all what my team can do here. Right, here we go. That's a lot of HP, nearly 14 million. Most effective way to use this team on turn 1, just use these 3 cards. Then on the following turns, just use the nuke skills, or whatever you want to call them, the unleashes a copy skill. Then that should allow you to fly through the map. As you can see, I didn't even need that skill, it's automatically defeated it. Now when you use these skills, it basically kills the bosses and enemies in one attack, so it's really useful. It's more effective on the bosses though. I may do a Korelium map as well, just to show you the effectiveness of this. You can't really see it here as there's not enough waves, unfortunately. Yeah, it's effective on the boss, there we go, that's what it does. If your previous hit is pretty decent, then if you get a boss, just use one of the skills and then it should just kill the boss almost instantly. So, a very good deck for the Crusade, but not a very good deck for the bosses, unfortunately. Makes it hard to decide if this is worth going for or not. Only you can decide that. Let's do a Korelium map as well. A lot easier, but hopefully I'll get more bosses up and I'll be able to show you what the deck can actually do. Because it's such a quick deck for the Crusade, I think most of the event will probably be spent in the Crusade. If you get regular enemies on wave 1 like here, then bosses on all the other waves, you can just fly through it ridiculously quickly. There we go, so for the normal enemies, just use the skills that spawn power gems. And save the event cards for the bosses. With the exception of Turbo, as that one only creates power gems. So here we go, this should show you the effectiveness a bit better. Then just use one of those and it kills it instantly. There we go. If I get another boss here, I'll be able to do the same. Unfortunately, there's not another boss here, so let's just fill the grid with power gems. Then for the end boss, use that skill and see what happens. It should kill the boss almost instantly. So yeah, just power gems for the waves and then the bonus attack skill, whatever you want to call it, for the bosses. And that's a very, very quick way of getting through the Crusade. Even the Radiant Crusade was no problem with this. So I have a Korelium solo boss up now. I'm going to give this a go. This should be really easy. The boss's team is pretty effective. The boss does have toxin though, so be really careful. If you are going with some sort of golems based team, bear that in mind. I know a lot of players will probably want to test that out, but it's not very effective. This team is far better. Turn 1, match anything. And turn 2, just use all the skills and the boss is dead after that. It's really that easy. If Toxin doesn't dispel, then make sure to use Immolating Fey to get rid of Toxin. If you have that card, assumingly. Right, and then a bit of an awkward grid, but should still defeat the boss nice and quickly. Here we go. That's the damage. So 100% overkill. The grid wasn't especially good. If it was a better grid, then I probably would have got 200% on the boss. So now what I'm going to do is get a Radiant solo boss up so you can all see what that looks like. So here we go, I have a Radiant solo boss up. Now I will say it again, I highly recommend focusing mainly on the Korelium map. These Radiant guild bosses have a lot of health, and the Radiant solo bosses are not much easier. I mean, that's 1 Q HP, so without the event deck, you have no chance against this boss, you really don't. Even with the event deck, you're going to find it hard unless you have a really good combination. I should be able to defeat this boss, but I won't get any overkill on it, I don't think. So here we go. As before, turn 1, match anything. If Toxin doesn't counter, then use Immolating Fey to get rid of Toxin. And there we go, like so. Then starting from the next turn, I can start using the nuke skills. And then that will chip the HP down on the boss. That's a pretty decent first hit, actually. There we go. I've nearly got it down already, actually. It's not too difficult to kill with this team. This is a pretty good team. If I only had the event deck, though, I'd have major problems. You need other cards to make this deck work. There's no boost on any of the cards from the actual event deck. Well, there we go. There's the boss defeated anyway. No ultra kill or overkill on the boss, but I managed to get through it. 190 trophies. So there we go. That's the Radiant solo boss. Alright, so on to guild bosses. We have Korelium and Radiant bosses up now. So before going any further, let's have a look at the HP and trophy value. So the HP on the Korelium, I would say, is around 1.8Q. The HP on the Radiant, though, as you can see, is over 11Q. So let's have a look at the trophies. The trophies on the Radiant should really be 5 times the trophies on the Korelium. That's 533 million. And then if we go over to the Korelium boss, load it, there we go, 254 million. So that's around 2.2 times the trophies, over 5 times the HP. So unless you have a guild full of players that have stupid strong decks, the Radiant is not really worth your time, in all honesty. For that reason, I'm going to take on the Korelium guild boss and ignore the Radiant one. If others in the guild want to kill that, then they are welcome to do so, but I think it's a bit too difficult and not really worth the trophies it gives. So, Armour and Blind on the guild boss. Both can be removed by Immolating Fey. Hopefully I'll defeat this as I'm running out of keys. I need to do some hardcore Korelium Crusade grind after I finish this video. So here we go. This should hopefully not be too difficult, actually, with this team. So turn 1, use all the skills like that. Then turn 2, here we go. That will get rid of both Blind and Armour if they hit. Then after that, I can start using that bonus attack skill. And then hopefully that will kill the boss relatively quickly. Here's the double nuke, there we go. So it doesn't one-shot the guild boss. In the Earth Commander event, guild bosses were being killed so ridiculously quickly. In this event, though, not so easy, but I can still handle the Korelium boss, which is pretty good as I am a completely free player. It's nice to be able to actually kill stuff for a change. I should get it on the next turn. So it's not spectacular damage, but it does the job. And it means I can kill the bosses by myself. At least the Korelium anyway, not the Radiant. I'll need help with the Radiant. But yeah, this is a good team. It's an effective team. It's definitely the best team I can make up, that's for sure. There we go. Boss defeated. Okay, so let's have a look at the event rewards and the collection. It looks like another Legend Souls collection. So probably one of the weakest collections in my opinion. The Legends don't really have that much use anymore, except maybe in Legend Trials. So I'm going to go ahead and claim all of this. I don't think I have this Legend actually, so I may work on building her up. Especially with all these souls that I managed to get from the collection. Guild collection as well. That first reward on the guild collection is actually really good. It's like 10 orbs of EXP. One thing to note though, if you don't give out these gifts, they will disappear. So if you are the guild leader of a guild, make sure you give out these gifts after the event. Otherwise you may just lose them. So I am in Emperors again. Unfortunately, I could not stay in Legends last event. I did not have anything good, as you probably saw, but it is a Dragoon this time around, so worth fighting for. Well, maybe. Depends on what it specialises into. As it is there, though, it's not especially effective, increases damage, and creates a few power gems, but with that said, any damage boost is always going to help a bit in GVG. So the final thing I'm going to do is have a look at the decks from this season. If you still have leftover season coins, hopefully this will help you decide which deck to go for. Here we go, it's gone to the ultimate. So, without a doubt, my preference this time around would be the Earth Commander deck, especially if you have other good Earth Commander cards. This deck was just smashing the bosses. 80% boost on Earth Commander damage. When used with certain other cards, it just smashed through all the bosses really quickly. So that's what I'd recommend out of all these decks. I would say the weakest deck is probably the Fire Commander and Water Commander decks. The other two Slayer decks, it's hard to say really. I have this deck. I managed to get the other part of this deck as I had leftover coins. Since this is a Mortal Killer and increases Dark Slayer attack, this would probably be my second choice out of all the decks. You could use High Performance Unit Area to boost this right up. So they would be my choices anyway if you had the leftover season coins. And there we go, that about covers this video. I hope that was helpful. As always, if you do have any questions or suggestions regarding this video, please let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to help. And thanks for watching.